Hey guys, MaxPower22 here. Today I'm going to be reviewing a few different mods that you should consider for your next playthrough of Valheim. Much content isn't set to release until near the end of the year, however, why wait when a few talented modders have basically completed the game for you already? The first mod I'm going to review is called Terraheim. I love how this mod adds a complete new library of armor and weapons to the game. So they've added a few different weapon types to the game, including throwing axes and greatswords, which you'll see me demonstrate throughout the video. Also, I snuck in the dual-wielding mod, which is not part of the Terraheim mod, but just something you can add in with the Terraheim mod, or I think it works basically with any other weapon type mods out there, including Epic Loot, or just a vanilla version of the game. It's really nice. It feels great. It's balanced. It adds a new skill type for each dual wielding option, which includes, of course, dual swords, dual clubs, dual knives, and dual axes, and their own unique alternative attacks and set of attacks. It is super fun to use and mess around with, and really just adds an element to the game that I feel has been missing from Valheim since its launch. They've also created new types of armor, which allows you to take on different roles within the game. You can now play as a tank, ranged DPS, or a melee DPS, which is the role I'm demonstrating in this video. They've also added new flame weapons, which require the flame metal type metal, which you'll find, of course, in the Ashlands. And they're just really awesome. Of course, they feel overpowered, but I mean, that's what you would expect with something that's better than black metal gear. So you'll see me demonstrate a couple of these different weapons throughout the video here as well. This Warhammer is just absolutely amazing. It's so fun to just go and raid a goblin village and absolutely obliterate their buildings. I mean, just look at the power of this thing. Now, here's a clip of the Molotov Cocktail like weapon that you can craft. I think you can craft it kind of mid-game, like maybe Swamp Age territory, which I think they're maybe a little overpowered, but I mean, look how amazing these are. You just completely set a brick building or stone building on fire and just obliterate it. I mean, of course, this is more of a demonstration of me using it on a building alongside the fire Warhammer, but you can see how it can be used against enemies as well. Two other mods I will demonstrate include Forgotten Biomes and Monsternomicon. So, Forgotten Biomes fills the empty biomes with unique effects and resources. For example, the Northlands are filled with floating ice and exposed silver veins. The Ashlands require a cloak, otherwise you'll burn to death. And the Mistlands have a dangerous fungus that lingers in the air, poisoning your Viking unless you drink some anti-poison meat beforehand. Monsternomicon is really great because it pretty much just auto-completes the game. It fills these empty biomes with some new monsters which are pretty powerful, which is what you would expect with a kind of end game content here. Like, for example, these frozen boys look like something straight out of Wrath of the Lich King. Do quite a bit of damage, which feels good because they're not just any normal skelly boys anymore. You'll see me fight some frozen serpents here, which were a bit underwhelming, but I can see them being more intimidating, especially if there were some bigger bodies of water in the frozen parts. But still cool that they added these in, and you know, they just throw some some frost like attacks at you, similar to the frost drake. So still super cool. I'm glad that they're in here. This monster here is really cool. So it's a silver golem, and it's much bigger than the other golems you'll find. And I accidentally cut the clip too short, but you'll see here when it attacks, it actually throws like a volley of rocks and stone at you, which is you gotta be really careful about. Next we have the Ashlands, which of course is filled with Surtling cores, these weird little cinder wings, which are really hard to hit and create some kind of poison effect. Then you have this Elder Surtling, just a bigger Surtling, and then these burning Skelly Boys, which are surprisingly hard to fight. Also included in the Ashlands here are these fire drakes, which are just amazing. They'll just throw these giant fireballs at you and the other inhabitants of the Ashlands, and they just did such a good job adding in the animation and the damage mechanics and just everything that's seen in this mod. then the last biome, and definitely not the least of the biomes, is the Mistlands. So just a warning here, this stuff is absolutely nightmare inducing. You got these spiders that'll pounce on you from the treetops, and then you'll see in a little bit some dark, I think elf, they're supposed to be like dark elves or something like that. Yeah, here's one. There's this black silhouette, and they're super fast, and they will sneak up on you, and they will own you if you're not careful. Just around the corner here, you're gonna run into someone who looks very familiar. It's a Moonlit Warden, which I believe is a mini boss in the Monsternomicon mod here. And so they add mini bosses to each biomes, and then bosses for, of course, the other biomes that don't have a boss in them, like the Ashlands, Northlands, and Mistlands. And so very excited to see what that includes. This is just a playthrough of me running around with some dev commands, and so I actually haven't done a playthrough with these mods, but I definitely plan on it. It should be a lot of fun. Mod I'm going to review is the More Defenses mod, which adds in these automated turrets. This mod is just cool to have around. It's hard to judge whether or not I'd consider it a balanced mod, because the cost of the turrets are pretty high and can also be modified. It doesn't really add anything to the game progression wise, it just would make it easier to defend against raids. So you can see here we have 3 different kinds of turrets. So we have Frost Cannon, the steampunk turrets, and then the ballistas. And so each of them are kind of age specific. The ballista is a Bronze Age weapon, the steampunk turrets is an Iron Age weapon, and then the frost cannon is I guess you'd call it the Silver Age level. But all of them super cool, super effective, and it was a lot of fun just making this part of the video and using these turrets to pretty much wipe out this entire fooling camp. Also not recommended. I destroyed most of my cannons with a Molotov Cocktails, so you gotta be careful with these bad boys. So another mod that's just a lot of fun here includes Airships, which is actually very nostalgic for me because I grew up playing games like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy IX, which are very well known for having airships in them. And so I don't know if this would make the game too easy to play through, but once again, it's just a lot of fun. This guy has some really good mods there, so definitely check out his channel and some of the mods he has to offer. And that concludes this video. So the rest of this is just me flying around in an airship. Got some pretty cool scenic shots. Once again, I appreciate you guys watching my video. If you made it this far, definitely like and subscribe if you like my content. Still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this channel here. So let me know if you like this kind of content, this more review-like stuff, or if you like just Valheim stuff in general. And of course, if you haven't already noticed, we're not really doing the PvP stuff anymore. That was a lot of fun, making PvP content and helping run a PvP server, but just something that never really took off, and people just, there just wasn't enough interest in. So, but if that's something you are interested in, or interested in that kind of content, let me know if you would be willing to help me run a PvP server. I'd be more than happy to add my input and resources and things like that. But unless more interest is generated in that category, I'm just going to stay away from it. However, I do like Valheim in general, and we'll definitely be doing another playthrough of it and maybe making some content based around that. So anyways, once again, appreciate you guys coming in and visiting my channel, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.